I didn't realize,
Yeah.
so it's Sure. Okay, let's call to order.
I'm going to call your names. Chairman Scally,
Here.
Vice Chair Fleischer,
Here.
Commissioner Gupta.
Here.
All are present.
Cool.
Can you see the agenda on your screen? You should be able to.
Yes, I can.
Okay, great.
Can we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Hands over your hearts, ready to begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have 4 speakers. Would you like to set a specific time? 2 minutes, 3 minutes?
3 minutes is fine.
Okay. So our first speaker is Dr. Luther Henderson, followed by Rebecca Goodman.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Luther Henderson, a resident of Culver City and former chair of the Cultural Affairs Commission. I sat on as office number 1 in the original 2001 commission, and I wanted to, come back 25 years from now and find out what's going on. I'm a former professor of music emeritus at Los Angeles City College. I wanted to commend the commission on, I understand I missed it, but the reinstitution of music in the chambers. We instituted that way back then. Was able to have some luminaries as the Canadian Brass Quintet, Hubert Laws, the flutist, and Robert Watt of the LA Philharmonic, among others, in this particular chamber. And I'm basically here to encourage you to continue music in chambers and chamber music because this place has a very good sound system and also acoustics. I also wanted to distribute, since Black History Month is February, I have a list of African American and African classical composers that I've compiled for you, and I'll just give this to the clerk.
Thank you.
And hope that you will not only, when you're programming, not only in Black history as far as February, but we have some outstanding composers, some of which I've met and that are very good, and also being a diverse society. The Chevalier de Saint Georges, who predated Mozart, who was the Black Mozart. They did a recent movie of his. Scott Joplin, Florence Price, William Grant Still, William Levi Dawson. Matter of fact, I did get a chance to meet William Grant Still, Samuel Coleridge Taylor, Eugene Smith Moore, Margaret Bonds, Edward Kennedy Ellington, who I had an opportunity to meet because of my father's association with Duke Ellington, Hale Smith and Samuel Taylor, Coleridge Taylor's Perkinson. So in any event, want to wish you well, a Happy New Year, and always remember that cultural affairs is economic development. So if you can get some more folks in here, we have a diverse clientele, and I wish you well. Thank you.
Oh, yes, thank you. Okay, Rebecca Goodman, followed by Heather Moses.
Hello, my name is Rebecca Goodman. I'll watch my 2 minutes because I've got a number of fun and interesting things to say. First, just by way of introduction, I'm a native Angelino. I'm a lawyer, guilty as charged. But one of my favorite classes was with Alicia. We took a class in legislation, and our homework assignment was to find an innovative place where legislation is actually made and to watch it being legislated through the various committees and into an active statute. The city I chose was Culver City, and indeed, fast forward, it is a very innovative, progressive, cultural affairs, arts-oriented city, so yay. That brings me to my next point, is I've met many of you. I'm on the advisory board, previously on the board of the Culver City Arts Foundation, and I've been heading up artist meetups for over a year now, and there's certain venues that we have happily grown out of because we have more people than we have space, so we're now at about 30 to 40 people who attend each month and growing. I invite you to come to our next artist meetup, which will be at the studio of Jeff Maricall. It'll be on our website at the Culver City Arts Foundation, or if you're on our email list, you'll get it that way. They're very engaging, and they've resulted in a number of fun collaborations. Perfect segue to a collaboration that I'm personally interested in, so I'm speaking on my own individual behalf at the moment, but in furtherance of a project that the Cultural Affairs Commission may be interested in, and that is this wonderful book. So this wonderful book is the Culver City Cultural Affairs Commission book, Art in Public Places. A little public feedback. Everybody loves it. Everybody loves it and wants a copy. I've been distributing them. Next is Culver City happily has an abundance of riches when it comes to art in public places, interesting architecture, not all of which has been included in this book. So I'm here gathering to give you a little bit of an update and also seek perhaps just sort of a preliminary temperature check whether there would be interest in doing either a volume 4 that's more expanded or perhaps a volume 2, a edition 3, because this current book has gone through multiple editions, whether you wanted to do a new expanded edition or perhaps a volume 2 focusing on streets such as Washington Boulevard, which are not heavily identified in this book, or for another example, all the wonderful new architecture and things that have gone around the new Ivy metro station and the public art as a consequence of that. While you're pondering whether you think that this is a good idea or not, it is. I'll also add that I've identified a number of volunteers who are willing, ready, able, and have assisted in putting together a mock-up for you to look at. It's already, nothing is fixed in stone. There's just all photos, write-up, ideation, but it's easier to work with a straw man to edit than it is to start from scratch. So if you were interested, I wanted to let you know that that's available, and the intellectual property attorney in me has made sure that our photos are photo cleared. I've arranged with professional photographers to have them take professional photographs of buildings of interest that are not yet included in this book, along with public art that's not included. All by way of saying that some groundwork has been laid, and what would be helpful to know is if there's at least some preliminary interest to explore the idea. One last thing is I'm aware that the prior book was done with great assistance from the Historical Society. We have our wonderful representative here in attendance. My intention is by no way to exclude anybody or step on any pre-existing protocol, just to say, to convey that there is community interest and community volunteers and some community work product that you might wish to build on. Thank you.
Heather Moses, followed by Hope Parrish.
Good evening. I'm Heather Moses, and I'm the arts coordinator for CCUSD. Just wanted to let you guys know of a few things that are coming up. This Saturday, January 24th, we are hosting the California Statewide Dance Festival along with the CDE and the California Dance Educators Association. So it is open to the public. It's at 7 p.m. at the Robert Frost Auditorium, and we're really excited. This is a workforce development project for the kids. So they're co-producing it, and it's been a lot of work, but I'm excited about it. And then let's see, and then next weekend, we have the middle school improvers, who, if you've never seen them, they're super fun. It's all weekend long, Saturday and Sunday. And then we also are doing, on February 1st, we're going to be doing, the visual arts students are working with, at Village Well, they're going to be showing off their student zines starting at 10 o'clock, and it'll be from like 10 to 2, so that'll be really fun. And one of the things, like, there are so many fun stuff going on at the school district. If you're ever interested, if you go to ccusdarts.com, it's our website, and we post the upcoming events, and you can also learn about what's going on in the school district. Thank you, guys.
Our last speaker is Hope Parrish.
Hey, how's everybody doing on the commission? Happy New Year. I am kind of a little bit caught off guard, but I did have one with me. As your city historian, I am looking forward to working with the commission this year on many different things and different avenues. I've had a great year the last 2 years, and I will say that what Rebecca has brought up to you tonight, I think is kind of an interesting addition to what we already have. Like she said, possibly a new phase, because it's about the architecture of the mid-century modern. A lot of that she and I discussed was really interesting buildings that still exist, and before they get ripped down and their neon signs get tossed away, some of that might be good for the rest of the city, not just our downtown area, our historic downtown area. So I hope you consider it. I would like to also bring to your attention that the Historical Society is now open each Sunday. Our new president, Jack Bomarito, I'm President Emeritus, thank you. He and our museum chair, Maureen Fleming, have decided that we will be open each Sunday, except the 5th one, if it should occur, from 12 to 3. And we've had great people showing up, lots of interest. And on the 27th of this month, we will be having our quarterly program. This time it will not be at the multipurpose room like normal. It will be at the Fauché Masons Lodge on Venice Boulevard. And we're collaborating with the Masons because they're beginning to celebrate close to their 100th year in Culver City. So there's a lot of fun things they're bringing forth with their early members, which sat on our council. They were our early treasurers. A lot of them are right up there, the first 5, 6 pictures. So I encourage you to join us at the Fauché. I'll leave this with Cultural Affairs, and have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, that's great. That's our last speaker.
Awesome. Can we comment on any of this? Or no?
Yes, but you
Briefly?
should refrain from getting into a discussion unless you want to talk about putting something on the agenda in the future.
Okay, cool. We will leave it for agenda items in the future then. But thank you, everyone, for your contributions.
Next is receipt of correspondence.
Do we have correspondence?
We got a couple pieces of mail that I put up on the dais for you from Culver City Symphony Orchestra. We did not get any written comments for the meeting today.
Okay. Okay. Information, items from staff.
Good evening, everyone. Just also to say, to go back to those items, if your discussion or when you want to talk at other points during the meeting, if you did want to agendize a conversation, that's a 3 nodding heads, and you can present that as something to agendize if you'd like to have one of the conversations based on the topics brought up so far.
Sure.
Okay. So, because we don't have huge amounts of action items today, I thought it was a good moment, since we're halfway through the fiscal year, to sort of look at what our work plan was this time last year that was being discussed in the commission and then was later approved by council, talk about updates about where we are in things, and then provide an opportunity for you to ask questions or get any more elaboration. I know we have new commissioner, and just wanted to kind of level set. I would also say that related to filling out the commission, our City Council meeting last week, there was a discussion to prioritize appointments for the Cultural Affairs Commission. So I anticipate that this will be an agenda item on Monday, this upcoming Monday's meeting for City Council, who will be recommending an appointment or 2 for this commission to at least get another member, maybe 2. And if you'd like, you can review last week's recording. I believe it was action item 1. It's a pretty short conversation, but you can look through what the City Council discussed or related to this. But I would imagine that if things go as anticipated, we should have a new commissioner in place by the February meeting, which would be sworn in. And it would be a limited term through June, and then that person or persons sworn in would then be eligible to be reappointed for regular terms in June, which would be part of the regular cycle of recruitment. The other thing I would say is that we're all getting to know our new city manager, Otis Jones. If you haven't met him, I invited him to this meeting, but I'm assuming at some point he will attend one of these meetings, but I encourage you to reach out to him. One of the things that I wanted as a precursor to this conversation is that there will not be the regular city work plan meetings as they've been to city council in the past. Those meetings instead will take a different form, and they're taking a different process to the budget. We're still going to have a cultural affairs work plan for the year, but it'll be a different process that's sort of unrolling, and the process is just now sort of being articulated to the staff in the city. So once I know more, I'll let you know. But that also just invited this opportunity to kind of talk about where we are so that we can, when we are ready to have the conversation about what next year's work plan looks like, we'll have had a full debrief. With that, let's see, should I test this first to see if it, all right, great. Some of these will be familiar slides, others are conflated from the presentation. This presentation is a mid-year update on the fiscal year 25-26 Cultural Affairs Work Plan that was presented to the Council last spring. The goal tonight is to provide us a clear status update on where work is underway, what has progressed since adoption of the work plan, and what staff anticipates moving into the second half of the fiscal year. The format mirrors the council-facing work plan update and follows the same structure you will see in the slides, which say priorities, our current status, and our next steps. Before walking through individual priorities, I want to briefly ground this update in the division's core functions and values, which were introduced last year and continue to guide our work. These values include increasing opportunities for artists through workforce development and commissions, supporting neighborhood engagement and community-led activations, and aligning cultural affairs work with long-range plans and across city departments. Each work plan priority you'll see tonight ties back to these principles. The Community Cultural Equity Plan is the division's primary long-range planning initiative and a foundational work plan priority. As outlined here, the goal is to align cultural planning with the general plan and the Parks Master Plan while establishing a robust framework for community engagement. The RFP and selection process was successful and competitive, resulting in 17 proposals. Civil Economics and MIG, another arts consulting firm, are now in the contracting phase. Once under contract, next steps include convening a launch meeting with the subcommittee assigned to the cultural plan and developing a schedule for 2026 community engagement sessions that will occur throughout the year. The commission will guide this effort in large part, so expect a very heavy first half of the year as things get rolling. This slide groups together several related priorities: supporting performing arts organizations through the grants program, developing live music opportunities such as music in the chambers, and managing the Artist Laureate program. I put Artist Laureate here because technically this term is a performing arts artist laureate. At midyear, we completed a successful pilot of the Music in the Chambers, supported commission involvement through planning for Fiesta La Bayona and the Summer Concert Series, and awarded 26 performing arts grants for 2026, and those were presented and confirmed by City Council last week. Artist Laureate programming has been active at the October Art Walk, this past weekend's MLK event, and upcoming February activations. We'll have a little teaser video for those coming soon. And the Artist Laureate has been fully supported from the Trust and the Culver City Arts Foundation. Next steps focus on determining whether Music in the Chamber should evolve into a reoccurring program with partnerships and ensuring that the performing arts experiences are incorporated into the Community Cultural Equity Plan engagement process. This work plan area focuses on expanding neighborhood-based public art and developing more flexible program models. Colorful Communities has been officially launched, and artists are scheduled to be presented to the Commission next month. The rotating art program and utility box program are being evaluated alongside the community equity, cultural equity process to help inform siting, rollout, and long-term planning. Regardless of the broader planning framework, rotating art is anticipated to launch in a couple of months with commission and subcommittee input. What you see here is also new graphics. We've been working with a graphic designer who's going to brand these programs, and this is the first iteration of a logo that will be for the Colorful Communities program. This logo will be on the posters and will roll out when we communicate about the program. This slide captures major public art projects and planning efforts that require long-term coordination and commission involvement. The Charles Gaines A Frame for a Tree project is currently in fabrication, with installation expected for late 2026. De-accessioning policy, or the policy of taking public artworks out of our collection, and the public art collection software objectives that are outlined here are expected to be incorporated into the Public Art Master Plan, which is a component of the Cultural Equity Plan. Next steps include bringing the Arts District tree surrounds conversation back to the Commission once more. We're working on pricing, and I've been working closely with local artist Jeff Moracle on options to present to you, as well as a lot more information on what the possibilities are for the Arts District tree surrounds, likely in February or March, depending on when the final pricing comes through. Historic preservation remains a multi-year work plan priority aligned with general plan goals. Planning has recently completed a survey, an architectural survey of the Hayden Track. That's something that they did and funded separately and have shared with staff. Staff have been advised to focus first on updating our municipal code related to historic preservation before undertaking additional surveys of other neighborhoods, which is grossly overdue. As you know, the last great large-scale historic survey of our properties happened in the late 80s. So we are definitely in need of that. This work will proceed in collaboration with the planning department, as it's very closely tied to their work, and may involve identifying funding options because the surveying portion is quite expensive and falls outside of what our cultural trust can fund. Next steps include forming a subcommittee, engaging Architectural Resources Group to assist with the code updates, something that is outlined in their current contract, so we can proceed with that, and working with the Culver City Historic Society on replacing signage that's been stolen, including and prioritizing Vets Memorial first, or at least that's our current thinking. So once we have a few more commissioners, we'll be reforming that subcommittee and get going on all of this work. This work plan reflects two related efforts. Now, they weren't not necessarily related this time last year, but they certainly are now, which is planning for the 2028 Olympic and Paralympic Games and formalizing partnerships with the Culver City Arts Foundation. Staff continue to participate in LA 28 county and city convenings related to the Cultural Olympiad, which is part of the Olympics. A council subcommittee recently met, which was last week, to discuss Olympic programming and the upcoming MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, with the Culver City Arts Foundation, which is also being coordinated across city departments. Next steps include a public meeting this week with members of the Culver City Arts Foundation and the CAC subcommittee member, Chair Miscali, And then also continuing to formalize the other MOU, which is the main work partnerships with the Culver Arts Foundation with the city. So there's two kind of MOUs happening simultaneously. And then the city continues its ongoing exploration of hospitality houses in Culver City, which will also inform what cultural programming. We know that there's an agenda item on Monday related to another proposal for a hospitality house that I encourage you to check out when they publish the agenda later this week. This priority focuses on strengthening partnerships and improving communications, both internally across city departments and externally with artists, schools, and community organizations. Throughout the year, staff have worked with multiple city departments to increase collaboration and shared programming. Next steps include commission reflection on communications and outreach priorities, and the potential reformation of a subcommittee to help shape a 2 to 3 year communications plan for the division. That is actually one of our next agenda items, so we'll go in further depth with that and discussion in a few minutes. So to sum all of our work plan updates up, we've been working as a staff to sort of align where we are with our time and how we use our time on the programs. So we did this little survey between us that I thought I would share here just to give you an idea of how we are spreading out the work in our 3-member staff. What you'll see here are our programs, administrative work, the work we do with the commission, and then other community work and special projects. It's a tiny little font, so this is just a more visual representation. It's showing how our time is distributed across programs: long-range planning, administrative, commission preparation, community engagement, and special projects. It's meant to support discussion as we look ahead to the second half of the fiscal year, and considering sequencing, pacing, and commission priorities moving forward. That is my presentation. I will stop there. I would welcome any questions or feedback on any of these items, clarification on any of them, or where we are.
Can I just clarify, can everyone see this on their screens, a close-up? Do you know how to do that?
So you hit the presentation.
Presentation?
Here on this. Sorry, I thought it automatically populated there, so I apologize that I didn't tell you how.
I would have to do that, I think.
So as usual, thank you, staff, because I know just putting that report together takes a lot of time, and it's really helpful to see this, so thank you for doing that. It's great to see how much, it's like we're like the little engine that could, right? We do so much with so few, and here we are at 3 commissioners, and we're still keeping up with everything in our work plan. So I want to thank my fellow commissioners for that. And I just want to make a quick comment and thank Dr. Henderson for coming tonight and giving a shout out to Music in the Chambers. You saw it come up in the work plan. It was a very successful concert, and it is my hope and intention that we can keep it going as a chamber music series. So thank you for your support with that tonight. That's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Again, I was not part of the committee last year, so this is very informative to see where we have progressed. And just also a huge thank you to this trio here who's doing so much work. And it's interesting to see how much you all accomplish. And also really great to see where we've come in terms of the Artist Laureate. Enjoyed that piece as well, and look forward to seeing further progression there. And gosh, all the other areas. So thank you.
I second both statements. It's really impressive to see the amount of output that comes from 3 people, and I think this gives us plenty of ammunition to argue for a 4th member of staff, hopefully, or at least turn Sam into a official full-time position. So he's no longer stuck in this weird limbo. But yeah, thank you so much for putting this presentation together, and I know you didn't have to do this to go out of your way to keep us updated on how the train is moving. Is very helpful. Thank you so much.
Okay, we're going to move on to the next and yet another presentation, but we do have a really fun video to start the presentation.
Could you call the next agenda item, please?
Sure, yeah. We have our action items next. Number 1. Sorry, I need to read it. CAC action item 1, receive staff presentation regarding possible communications and outreach framework for Cultural Affairs Division 2026 to 2028. And 2, provide feedback and recommendations to staff.
I'm Victoria Marks, and I'm your friendly Culver City Artist Laureate for 26-27. This is not a secret, I'm not hiding anything, but I want to let you know that on Sundays through February, 2 to 4 at Wade Street, West Culver Recreation Center, we're going to be doing a really exciting gathering of people moving and talking and moving and talking. I call it Conversations with Words, Conversations with Movement. In short, action conversations. Yeah, you might have some questions.
Is this about connecting with others?
Yes.
Is this dance?
Not the way you usually think about it, no.
Is this exercise?
Well, you're moving.
Do I have to know stuff?
Only what you already know.
So is it therapy?
No.
Will there be music too?
Yes.
Do I have to show up every week?
No, but I hope you do.
Will I have fun?
Of course. It's here at the Culver West Alexander Park Recreation Center, right here on Wade Street, every Sunday in February, 2 to 4. So when we move, we change the conversation.
So I've invited Dustin to be here to talk through our next agenda item. And Dustin, as you know, is the city's public information manager and the person responsible for all of the fun videos and amazing presents.
Sorry.
we have.
I didn't mean to put her up again. I'm sorry. What's the other here?
So I have a presentation on communication strategy, but I didn't know do you want to talk first and say anything, or do you want to respond after the presentation?
Thank you so much to the commission for having us and talking through some of the plans that we have in this upcoming year. I'm very excited for a brand new year and opportunities for us to share the wonderful art scene that we have here and efforts to continue to highlight the heart of Screenland. So feel free, and then if you have any questions or anything, I'm happy to pop in.
So we're grateful that he's here with us today, because what we'd really like to do today is just start the conversation about what our communications priorities. The idea here is that what feedback you give today will go into the subcommittee, which we do still need to fill out with another person, which we'll probably do at the next meeting. But it will at least be an opportunity to talk about our communications priorities and give some direction to the subcommittee, who will then work on a potential 2 to 3 year communications plan that will guide us. So I'm going to start with my first slide here. I want to be very clear that this is just a starting point for the conversation. What I have in these slides is just for discussion and open to any changing or other feedback. Let's see. The feedback we hear tonight will help shape future discussions at the Communications and Outreach Subcommittee, with the hope that we arrive at a workable, sustainable framework to guide the next few years. These are proposed guiding principles, really touchstones rather than rules, that could help shape communications of different sizes and types. Obviously, this presentation is done in the heavy context of our work plan presentation previously, which we are a very small staff, and so we do not have our own communications team, and Dustin is responsible for not only the communications that we hand him to help craft for cultural affairs, but for every other city communication that happens. So his plate is enormously full as well. So that is a lot of what the guiding framework of this conversation is, just capacity and what we are able to do. These include ideas like consistency over volume, lifting up the commission locally, centering artists and community stories, and keeping everything scalable and manageable. Another important principle is alignment, making sure that what we do for cultural affairs fits within the city's broader communication structure rather than operating separately from it. These principles are meant to be tested, refined, or even rethought based on your feedback. Okay. One way this framework begins to take shape is by thinking about audiences, starting with a primary focus on the local community. This includes residents, artists, arts organizations, neighborhood groups, and local media. The goal here is understanding, helping people see what cultural affairs does and how the commission helps guide that work. The approaches being suggested are intentionally modest. Short features every couple of months, short video content, artist spotlights tied to city programs, and acknowledgement of commission-led priorities or recommendations. Most of this would live on existing city platforms with commission voices included where appropriate. Beyond Culver City, there's also a regional audience, LA County arts leaders, peer cities, funders, and regional media. The goal here isn't constant outreach, but visibility at moments when it makes sense, such as milestones related to the Cultural Equity Plan, notable public art projects, or distinctive programs like Music in the Chambers. Much of this would rely on partnerships and existing regional channels rather than creating new communication streams. At the national and international level, this framework suggests being very selective. This would primarily relate to moments of genuine relevance, particularly the Cultural Olympiad and LA 28 alignment that we're doing in the city and what that means for our cultural programming, or planning efforts that might be useful as models for other cities. The emphasis here is on alignment and readiness, engaging when interest emerges and doing so in a way that reflects the city's broader communications realities. A key goal of this framework, sorry, I'm missing my slide, is to stay realistic about staff capacity and city workflows. That's why the content types being suggested are intentionally simple and repeatable. Short features, brief press release for major moments, strong visuals paired with strong video and concise captions, and occasional milestones or year-in-review summaries. These are examples rather than prescriptions, and they're meant to spark discussion of what feels achievable and useful. So I'll stop there and open it for discussion. I'm really interested in what resonates for you, what feels unnecessary, and what you think is missing, especially from the perspective of your experience on the commission and on subcommittees. This feedback will help shape the next phase of the work, and I appreciate you taking the time to think it through together. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Did you want to address or no?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. If there's anything you wanted to add before we all start?
Yeah, just, again, Dustin Kleeman, Communications and Public Information Manager. Just wanted to let you know that we're really focused on those tenets of making stuff more accessible for people. So more videos, trying to highlight more artist work, more artistry in the city itself, whether it's small programs or big programs, anything that connects us with our art throughout Culver City. I think we'll be able to, this document in guiding principles would be able to give us a lot of leeway and create just a more recognizable portion from the city's standpoint. I know that the Culver Arts Foundation does a wonderful job in outreach to make it internationally known how wonderful our art places exist here, and I appreciate their help, and I look forward to more collaboration with them. I would love to also include, just in this standpoint, as we look to our efforts for Visit Culver City, economic development is working toward creating that T-bid portion, so completely branding a separate side of ourselves for Visit Culver City and in making sure that arts are forward within that branding, so people are aware and can recognize the wonderful art scene that we have here in Culver City. So that'll be part of that as well. That goes to the City Council next week for consideration on the branding opportunities, but I just wanted to make sure that you all understand that we're being mindful of how art plays that role for when we talk Visit Culver City. So any questions you have, feel free to let me know. Thank you to Victoria Marks for her willingness to be part of this video. Very excited for her Sundays. We're going to be rolling that out this week to get people engaged and signed up for RSVP. They don't have to, but if they would like to, it gives us a better head count for these community action conversations that I think will be really successful and a lot of fun to partake in. So thank you. Oh, one other thing too. I did want to make clear just my efforts to, in any communication, to make sure the CAC is properly attributed for the work that is being done by you all. I want to make sure that people understand that we have an incredible cultural affairs commission that works hard. So making sure that that is a forward point in the communications ahead too.
Thank you so much. I think this is really great and long overdue. I have a bit of a background in communication, mostly on the branding side and producing social content. So I think, especially with the World Cup coming up, the Olympics coming up, it's really important for us to citywide kind of get our act together on the communication. And I think we all owe you a bit for taking on this very, very daunting task of cleaning all this up. Sally, do you mind going back to the original slide that had the main principles so we can, I just want to review that real quick. Okay. Yeah, I think all of this is really good. The only part that I'm hesitant on is consistency over volume. Mostly because social channels typically respond better to volume. Everything you produce isn't necessarily put in front of everyone's eyes. So I think if we go into this trying to not have a high volume of exposure, we might be shooting ourselves in the foot. I think all of this is great, and I'm really looking forward to seeing it happen. But if we don't have enough staff or we don't have enough, resources, we don't have enough people to shoot and edit, which I'm sure is the case because one person is in charge of communication for like 8 different departments. It would be nice for him to have maybe a team member or someone that responds to him or answers to him who's only responsible for producing cultural related or art related content. We have enough going on. I mean, you guys know, obviously, like we could produce a few videos a week just on the colorful, poster project, much less, one person producing, one video a month about 18 different things that we're doing. So I just kind of want to get ahead of that. I would like for us to do 10 videos a month on culture and art. We shouldn't really give ourselves an excuse that, we don't have the money, we don't have the people, let's just drop the ball and make 4 videos a year. That's not the kind of attitude that I want the commission to have. So if we have a way of solving this and getting ahead of it from now, there's internship opportunities, there's student filmmakers here, there's a bunch of people who are bankrupt and don't have money, and because the studios are closing, there's people in our city who know how to shoot and edit. So maybe we can transfer some of those funds to help those people communicate what we're doing in the commission on a more consistent basis, and try to build out a content plan that is ambitious in its design. It might fail in execution, but at least we're trying our best to put out 50 videos a month. If we only put out 27, sure, but let's not start low and try to just meet that kind of timid approach. Go for it.
Consistency over volume isn't necessarily to do with a lack of volume, and that more so trying to be getting the most bang for our buck right now. And so what I think when we'll retool the language on that, but the thought process is to be consistent with the voice of what we're trying to share with people, if that makes sense. So the video that we made with Victoria, yes, that's one video. We're going to do it multiple times to make sure it gets in front of people. As we've discussed before, I've talked with the Culver Arts Foundation, you really need about 9 different attempts to get one impression on someone. And so I think that the goal for that portion of it is to essentially break it out. And again, like I said, we'll work on the language. But for the cultural affairs side of it and understanding, if there's an event, we would do, say, a video for it, previewing it, a video going into it, photos going up to it, an email post, and making sure that we're consistent on the timing of it and very intentional when it comes to that messaging. So not only are we just saying, hey, you're right, we do one video and we call it good. That's not going to be enough, and it's surely not going to get in front of people. I think the consistency portion, what we really want to achieve on that is to do a lot of it, but to make sure that we can do it at once and then split it up. So it almost looks like, yeah, we shot one video, and we did a couple photos, but it almost looks like we did 27 different things out of it, and really, filtering it in many different lenses. So that way, it appears that there's way more to it and layered than just a one-off. Because I agree with you, I don't think it's effective for anyone's time to do a one-off or one thing or say 4 videos a year. I certainly don't want to do that, and I don't expect us, when I say us, myself, to just do that amount. I would love to do more. And so those next 10, or I should say the next 4, is really the collaboration portion with the Culver Arts Foundation, working with Sally's team and trying to find ways where I can step in and say, hey, let's do this. Let me go shoot this. And I think we can be much more agile while allowing to ensure that we're not taking up too much time and we're still filling it with, putting it 10 pounds worth of content in a 5-pound bag of time. So I completely hear what you're saying, and we'll work on that language just so it's a little bit more clear, is that, yes, we absolutely, our goals are going to be high, and we'll achieve them by being consistent on how we message to people. So it's just that voice and the consistency of what people expect on, social channels or email blasts.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
We're in the future of our communication is in your hands.
Well, I'm grateful for that, and I'm really excited. Like I said, especially with this Visit Culver City, with what you said of the World Cup, the Olympics coming up, so many international opportunities and interest from different countries coming to our city. I really want to put an emphasis on the arts itself and the work that's being done and all the different great ideas that we have. Sure. So that will be a focus and absolutely going to be a time that we invest to ensure that is communicated beyond our boundaries.
Awesome. Thank you so much. There's only one other thing that I want to add, and I love this presentation. I'm super excited that we're putting our thoughts on, paper, digital paper. Another slide that I think might be beneficial for this is for us to actually organize in a concrete fashion who these partners are. So, I think the Olympic Committee of New Zealand, if that goes through, is going to be one of these partners. The Culver Arts Foundation is one of these partners. The Wende Museum, which does hosts us so much, is another one of these partners. And so maybe we can create ways and channels for those partnerships to actually make it onto social media, where we have joint posts and collaborative posts with the city government page, with the Wende, with Culver Arts Foundation, with the Olympic Committee of New Zealand. That elevates our status as a city. Like, oh wow, our audiences will multiply by formalizing those partnerships in the digital space, which I've seen other cities do, in an effective manner. So I just kind of wanted to put that on your radar to see, who are these platinum premier, institutions that already have deep connections with us in our personal connections, in our physical connections. The digital connections need to reflect those connections as well. And so, you know, you who are, you know, kind of like the steward of this at this moment, it would be great for you to start developing connections with the communications and branding directors and leaders of those institutions and be like, hey, you know, we're doing this event that's going to be hosted at your, you know, thing. Maybe we can collaborate on some kind of media and then post it together so that all of the tens of thousands of followers that are already viewing the content and digesting it on your channel are now going to be forced to interact with the city of Culver City at the same time. So just a thought.
I love that too, and I will point out that unfortunately this is one of the things that I would love to be able to do more, but there are limitations based on the city charter currently that we can. There's a workaround for it, but it has to be through an MOU. Currently, the city charter. The only way that social media can promote events hosted by another place, say like the Vende, right? They have to be city-sponsored or city-produced. And so with, obviously, the agreement or the city council doing the performing arts grant, all those ones now are open for us to promote and share because it has funding from the city. So Actors Gang, obviously there's an MOU with them. Unfortunately, I don't believe, and I'm working through it with economic development, especially for the chamber, working on a way to enhance our memorandums of understanding to provide a little bit more leeway for those. So it can share, say the situation is that there's a wonderful event that is going to be massive and huge for Culver City at the Vende that is not necessarily promoted by the city. There's just that gray area that I need to have worked out for me a little bit more, because what that I'm conscious of, at least and this is now inside baseball, so I apologize, but I don't want any producers of events to come in and say, well, why was my event not promoted? What didn't I do to do it? And this wasn't sponsored, mine isn't sponsored, so how come they're getting more shine than mine? I know but it's just an instance that I want to make sure that we avoid and have any issues that way. So we are working on it, and I completely agree, and I would love to share more because there are amazing events that happen at multiple facilities and different organizations host, and I so want to post and be like, guys, come check this out. This is happening in Culver City. It's amazing, and I can't. And so I totally agree with you, and would be happy to provide an update once those things get worked out and a better understanding of how those memorandums, you know, are made, and trying to just point to be like, hey, can we figure out which way we can say this is sponsored or this is supported by social media standards that's cleared to go. So that's the only thing that I have to be mindful of in
Sure.
those.
No, thank you for the clarification.
Of course.
I would just also just encourage that this is a part of the community cultural equity plan, right? This will be the discussions that we have with the community, with them, with the commission. So how we raise our profile, what our profile looks like, these are priorities that will be outlined in that plan too, and will help guide us as well. So there's multiple opportunities to have this feedback funnel into long-range planning for this commission.
Commissioner Fleischer?
Thanks, Dustin, for all of that and for putting this slide presentation together. I want to thank you especially for mentioning the Visit Culver City, because it wasn't on there. I know it's tangentially related, but to me, that's a core principle, is that when we get this new website up, that Cultural Affairs has a place to really exist in there that people can go to. Sure. Because I know from my own personal experiences, if I'm traveling, I want to find out what is in a certain artistic, or it's in certain community. If they have a lot of arts things going on, I'm more likely to go and visit there. And so arts and tourism are intrinsically tied together. It's part of the creative economy. So it's just going to keep that in your in your thoughts as we venture towards this Visit Culver City new website and the entire new branding that we're going to be having there.
Absolutely, and I do want to say that we were going to include that as well, but it was one of those things that we didn't know if they would be discussing it on Monday, and so we've kind of held off on, but an email went out to the public to let people know that it will be on the agenda, so that's why we're more than happy to talk about that tonight, and we'll make sure that that's included in this plan too, because you're right, it is such an important key thing when people want to come check out a place. Arts is tied to that very much so, and so that'll be on our minds when we're going through this entire branding phase, especially the website portion of it, and then the social media build out too, because that will be taken on by the city at first. At least that is the goal, and then how that future looks will be determined. But of course, the arts will be there.
Great. And then thank you, Sally, for talking about the alignment with the cultural plan, because we want to make sure that, speaking about communication, that all the channels are open, because what you're doing with social media and what we're going to do with the community cultural plan, and so we all need to be talking to each other, and we can't be siloed. Look, we're just doing the community cultural plan. No, it all has to be integrated. So I know that takes time and more effort, but I think it's super important, and we have this wonderful opportunity, because we're doing the community cultural plan, to integrate the communication strategy into the plan for internal success here. Let me look at my notes here. I do agree with Chair Miscali about making sure we're posting enough, so I appreciated your answer to that. And one thing I would say regarding the partnerships, I understand the issue there. However, I wonder if there's something within naming people specifically, like having specific groups for specific times, like the New Zealand Olympic Committee, right? There should be a time frame when, okay, they get to post together, right? Or something like that, where if you're just saying relying on general partnerships, sure, then you're going to have that issue. But if the city council and you and all the departments can specify, yes, we want to be able to have an MOU with this particular group, I think that could be helpful to us. And maybe that's already where you're going, but it would seem like that would help kind of not ruffle any feathers, right? Because you would be naming who you are going to be partnering with. It's not just open to everybody.
Yeah.
And actually, one more plug for the cultural plan. You spoke about an intern, someone to help you out. Chair Miscali is so right about there's so many people that can do this work. So I wonder if that can also be something that we talk about as part of the cultural plan. I'm just saying it out loud now when we discuss it, but that's, can we find funds in the Cultural Trust Fund? Can we carve anything out there? I don't know. But you're so right, and it would be helpful to everybody, right? If we were able to do that, it'd be helpful to anybody who we were to hire, it'd be helpful to you, it'd be helpful to the city, because we just have more presence there on social media. So it's something I want to follow up on. And then on this slide here, I like everything that's on there. Regarding the artist and community-centered storytelling, yes, and more, yes. And I think this is where it's challenging, like how do we find these people? And I know Sam did such great work with the colorful communities, and I'm not on that subcommittee, so I'm just kind of seeing it from 10,000 feet. But clearly it went out to a lot of people, and you got a great response. And so how do we find these artists? So yes, we should be doing this, but I think it's going to be up to us to figure out how we find them, and not just the usual suspects that are kind of always in the news or on social media. So I'd like to explore that more and see how we can, in the outreach part of our communication outreach, reach out to artists that are kind of hidden somewhere. Just like we are going to have to reach out to people with the Community Cultural Equity Plan to find people who might not otherwise come out and talk to us. Right? So I'm hoping that can be a part of it too. And yeah, other than that, great, thank you.
All right, I'm going to repeat a few things, but thank you, Sally and Dustin. This was really great. I've been following you and your work, obviously, on Instagram and Facebook and emails, and that's an area that I'm very passionate about as well. When I served with the foundation, and also now that I'm here, I really believe in the power of storytelling and the importance for the voices of artists and performers alike to be heard. So I'm grateful that this is happening. I do think that, again, for those of us who have worked in content, we understand content calendars. We understand, you create, robust pieces of content that you can slice and dice. And so I'm completely confident that that's what you will do. And I think, it's just creating very curated, thoughtful content is really helpful. So I don't know if there's a way to kind of showcase, that maybe you do kind of one example, because again, I understand because I come from that world, but it might be good to just kind of share, hey, for instance, we're going to do this. This is the email that's going to come out, and then really walk them through, this is what an Instagram post would look like. This is what Facebook would look like. Just really, I don't know if that's too prescriptive.
No.
But
I love that idea.
Yeah.
I mean, if people are okay with it, I really don't mind. Like I said, when we're getting inside, behind the scenes,
I
happy
think
to
it
do
really shows how you slice and dice content and the power of content. I think, a good example is Art Walk and Roll, the work that you did with the committee and Culver City Arts Foundation. That kind of triad, I think, worked really well together, and there was a lot of co-sharing and amplification of content, so that was very powerful. Let's see here. The other thing I wanted to mention is, again, I think I like to come from a world of data as well. So I think, I, for one, feel like there's been an amplification. I've seen, more content produced from, 2 years ago. And I think that's a powerful story. So I urge you somehow, I know you're a party of one, but AI is a great tool as well. But, really to understand kind of, I would think about actually tracking metrics, showcasing how many emails are opened, showcasing, pieces of content that are really kind of being amplified and, shared. So I do think you have a small army of influencers out there that you may not know of. And so they do like your content, they share it, and that resonates. So I urge you to, again, I know you've mentioned there's some restrictions, but I think also there are creative ways, maybe working with Heather and team or, others out there with, for instance, the Culver City Arts District. There are creative ways to really share content, and I urge us to kind of think strategically about that as well.
Absolutely. I think that making those connections and relationships, as you discussed, to because there are so many artists that we have in the arts district who are internationally known and have a massive following. I can think of several off the top of my head. And to make sure that they understand that we support them. I think that that's another thing that the city, with our new city manager, we want to lean forward into understanding that we support so many different sectors of the city, but art and artists are definitely part of that, and making sure that they understand that as well. So making those connections, I absolutely will continue to do, and see how we can leverage those opportunities to essentially open up the lines of where our audience could be.
Right.
With those collaboration efforts through the Arts Foundation, through artists themselves. And doing these profiles, I think, would be another piece to that, to be able to just share Culver City's platform and continue to raise it, because that's the goal of 2026 and beyond, especially as we look towards these internationals, to really elevate our status as a city amongst LA.
Yeah, well, I'm really excited, and keep doing what you're doing, and you've come a long way in terms of what I've seen the city produce, and so thank you for really championing that.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Go for it.
One more thing, Dustin, I thought that in the artist and community-centered storytelling bullet, maybe figuring out a creative theme for the kinds of stories you're going to be telling. Like, I'll give something really basic, but, let's see, Arts District Artist of the Month, for example, or, music students are doing something at Culver High, or right, or there's something at Culver. Maybe there is an AVPA connection somehow. Focus on a different neighborhood, right? So that they're kind of branded each
Yes.
thing, and people are,
Love that.
here comes the spotlight of the month for this, right? So rather than just kind of generic artist and community-centered storytelling, so if we could find ways to kind of pigeonhole the different things, so people say, I want to follow this, I want to see what comes up every month for this, right? That might be a
Absolutely.
way to approach it.
And we've done the small business spotlights. I'm not sure if people have caught that, but we're trying to be more consistent on those too, and getting more small businesses in those spotlights. So we've branded there, and I love the idea, and we'll try to figure out what's the best way to come up with a branded version of art, related topics that people can click our YouTube channel. It's specifically a channel that is all dedicated to arts and all ways and places. I mean, like you said, the AVPA, that's a great spot to highlight. And,
Sure.
and so I also welcome, the commission's recommendations and connections. If you feel that there is like, hey, this would be kind of a fun story. I know that Sally has been wonderful at connecting me with people that has opened things up, and we have conversations every week regarding how we want to do that. So that'll definitely be part of our conversations going forward. And I just would also like to thank Sally for her leadership in really making sure that the cultural affairs, at least on the communication side, there's been a lot of opportunity for me to open that box and go further into it. So I'm excited for what this last year we've done, but even more so excited for 2026. And so we'll think about ways to kind of come up together with a branded spotlight idea. But absolutely, thematic would be perfect.
So one really simple way, which is it's almost built in, so you always promote the performing arts grants. That is we are city sponsored, but if you were to do, if there were a couple concerts coming up, right, in 1 month, and you could actually talk to artists in there and put together one video about them, that would maybe stir some more interest in the performances. There would be more audiences at them, but that's a way to use something that we already have, that you already promote, but adding one more thing to it to highlight them and to hopefully just have more engagement with
That's a
them.
great idea. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Okay, are we ready to move on to the next action item?
We are. So this is going to be sort of a standing item going forward. It's something the Parks Commission does, and we've talked about it recently in sort of just making sure that the full commission understands the work of the subcommittees and that everybody's updated, since we know the Brown Act prevents full conversations with the commission on subcommittee activities until this moment. So I'm going to open it up. I know that the three of you have been in countless subcommittee meetings in the last few months, and you're probably completely up to speed. But I thought I would just give you the opportunity to say a few words about the subcommittee work you're doing to let your colleagues know, and then, assuming we don't have an overly packed agenda, just plan that this would be part of our standard agenda going forward, that we'd have an action item with subcommittee updates. I can pull up the list here. Hold on one second.
Yes, please, that'll be helpful.
What am I on?
Yeah.
What are you on?
We're
Well,
pretty much-
it was attached to the agenda item, so the new system should work, that it would allow you to open it right there.
Yeah, you can just click on the attachment.
Yep.
Okay, we can start with public art. That's our one standing committee.
Sure. Yeah, in public art, we had 2 items that require an update. One was architecture as art, right? And what was the second one? The posters. I'm going to let Commissioner Gupta talk about the posters, but for the time being, I guess we're basically just updating Tanya at this point. There's and the public, yeah. There is a proposal being brought forward to fulfill the requirement of the art requirement for a new development on the site that is right next to the Kirk Douglas Theater. Yeah, so in lieu of a freestanding mural or sculpture, they are going to try to take advantage of the architecture as art option, which hasn't actually been used in quite a while. And they want to create a sculptural moment out of the staircase. There's 2 staircases and kind of like this breezeway, pathway, atrium type of situation, like a 3-dimensional open kind of volume that cuts through the building. And it's an artist that, it's an architect who works also as a fine artist and has a background in it, so there is some depth to the statement. And they're working on a very interesting kind of louver system where there's the staircase is going to be incorporated into these louvers, and the louvers are kind of inspired by folded paper. And yeah, it seems like an interesting proposal, and I'm sure you might know this from it being used in the past. But part of the process is a team needs to be assembled that's representative from different specific requirements, like an architect who's practicing, a landscape architect who's practicing, a small business owner, different individuals who have some kind of weight in the decision-making process. Sally, where are we in the process of determining those individuals on the panel?
We're trying to assemble at least 5. We've got confirmations from 3, but we're hoping in the next couple of weeks to convene this professional panel who will review based on subcommittee suggestions to the original presentation by this developer. And so they're going to sort of make a recommendation back to the commission who can approve or not approve this proposal. So I would say that this is likely to come to you in March or April. For the full commission.
Cool, yeah. So they showed us some preliminary drafts of it and some renderings, and me and Commissioner Gupta gave them some feedback. You know, my background being architecture, I gave them some more, technical, some technical feedback and tried to help them, with their case of really establishing that this part of the building is art. So yeah, that was the kind of the first half of what we went over in the public art. And Commissioner Gupta will let us know about the poster program.
Thank you, Chair Miscali. Yes, so we had met about the amazing Colorful Communities poster program. So just wanted to again give a shout out to Sam Lee. The work that was put into this was really tremendous. We had over 38 applicants, I believe, and just, incredible selection. And I think we were both very, blown away by the caliber of the work. So just in a nutshell, in terms of the recap, we picked 5 artists, and those were the ones that scored the highest via the committee, and there were 3 possible alternatives, just in case, that was needed. And the other thing to report on is the amount initially was going to be awarded as $8,000 per artist, and that has now been increased to $9,000. The reason being is we wanted to ensure that the insurance mandate is also included in there. So just really excited to see how this progresses, and I think you'll be pleased. And the public will hopefully love it. So
That will be an action item again to present to commission next month.
Yeah, just to add, the insurance component comes into play because the artists are expected or required to interact with the community on multiple times throughout the process because they're representing a neighborhood, creating a poster to reflect it. And so since they will be interacting with the public, the city requires them to have some kind of liability insurance. And so we didn't want that $1,000 liability insurance to kind of eat into their already taxed income. So that was that, to just kind of offset it.
And then I assume, have the artists been notified? Not yet. Okay, all right. So that'll be the next step.
Surprise.
Great, thank you.
Okay, our next is Artist Laureate, which is Vice Chair Fleischer and Commissioner Gupta.
So we did meet with Victoria Marks, and she is coming up with kind of refining her plan. We did provide feedback and recommendations that she is incorporating. I did have the opportunity to see her this past Sunday at the MLK Day celebrations, and we have a member of the audience who was also there, participating in the work that Victoria Marks was doing, and it was really powerful to see that in the works. So, looking forward to seeing her events in February. We'll continue to work with her and refine things as needed.
So we did have a meeting. I'm sorry that I wasn't able to get to the event. I was out of town this past weekend, but our meetings with Victoria, whenever we have had an artist laureate, the through line is that they have so many creative ideas that we have to make sure that they take care of themselves and that they don't overdo it. And I think what Victoria has done with this project she's doing in February is just right. And I'm hoping that the advice that we gave her, it seemed like it resonated with her. And I know that she's actively thinking of other ways to engage. We actually had suggested she go to the MLK event, and I'm glad that that was able to work out. And so we will continue to work with her and help her along as much as we can to support her, and I'm looking forward to the continued work with her. So, yeah.
Great.
And just a shout out to the foundation for also continuing to work with her as well. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm going to skip past communications and outreach because currently that's not a filled-out subcommittee, but those committees will begin to meet again once we have an extra member. And then this is up to you, Chair Miscali and Vice Chair Fleischer, but the Creative Economy and Cultural Plan, I know we haven't met since we selected the firm, so you can update on anything you want to, but I know that that subcommittee is probably going to really start back once this firm's in contract, so any updates you want, feel free.
Yeah. Uday came to the meeting last month, so he's raring to go, and I know that we have to go through the contracting process, but I know he's raring to go, and I know we're very excited about it, so we're looking forward to having updates. And I'll just say about the process, and we talked about it a little bit last time, but it was very thorough, and we really spent a lot of time discussing what we thought was best for the city. And I am personally thrilled with civil economics and MIG, and I'm really looking forward to what they're going to come up with. So, yeah, that's all.
Yeah, I second that as well, and I'm looking forward to working with them soon.
Okay, so the next is this fiscal year's subcommittee working with the Culver City Arts Foundation. That is Commissioner Gupta and Chair Miscali.
Yeah, I don't have that much to add. I participated in the Color Me Mine get-together, which was great, the holiday party. It's always great to be in the same room with a lot of artists. Regarding specific developments in Culver Arts Foundation, there's been a lot of talk about developing the same kind of networking and relationships among artists that we can amongst architects. So they've succeeded in establishing, at least for the time being, a architecture subcommittee that's going to be focused on trying to rally the architects around. There's a lot of really accomplished architecture firms in Culver City. Some have moved and left the city, but others have come in their stead. So that's one development that we've been working on behind the scenes. Also, Culver Arts Foundation is going to have their retreat in the coming weekend at the Kirk Douglas Theater. I'll be participating in that. Looking forward to it. If it was up to me, the retreat would be in Palm Springs, somewhere with a pool and views of the Joshua trees, but I guess the Kirk Douglas will do. Besides that, I don't really have anything else to add. Maybe Alicia will come and inform us later about some more details. And Commissioner Gupta, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I just want to echo, I definitely really enjoyed the holiday party that was hosted by the Culver Arts Foundation. It was really great to see, the foundation as well as numerous artists and performers, and they even had live music, and it was really creative at Color Me Mine. So thank you for the invite to that. I also did attend the artist meetup last month, which was also really lovely in I believe it was at Pasta Sisters over in the Arts District. And I think, again, I've been to Jeff Mordecai's meetups, and they are really effective and really interesting. And I hope that folks will get out to the next one. I believe that's coming up. So it's really great to kind of see a participatory element in an artist meetup as well. And then, looking forward to the retreat on Sunday. I will try to make part of it at least. Thank you.
Great. And the final one, since we don't have a full Olympic and Paralympic Cultural Olympiad committee, but again, there will be a public meeting this Thursday that has been noticed for the city that is discussing cultural programming and the MOU with Culver Arts. So it would be the 2026 Performing Arts Grant Program, which is Commissioner Gupta and Vice Chair Fleischer.
Okay, so I'm thrilled that the City Council approved the grants. I think that was on the 12th of January. So we're looking forward to a wonderful season of Lee Help Me. Is it 22 performance?
It's 26 grantees,
26
but some of
grantees.
them have multiple performances.
Right, 26 grantees, so really proud of what they're doing, and hopefully with Dustin's help, we can amplify their work this year. And so now it's kind of all Lee's job. I think our part in the Performing Arts Grant Subcommittee is really going to be focused on music in the chambers coming up and figuring out what that is going to look like. I have already begun to do some research about how we might structure that program and have some really good feelers out there and some possible frameworks that we can use. And so I'm looking forward to our subcommittee meeting coming up very soon. Sometime this week, maybe? I can't remember. Tomorrow. Oh, I knew it was soon. Great. So you'll hear from me in that subcommittee meeting, and I'll be excited to report back to you on that next month. Thanks.
Just to add to that, again, really thrilled with the caliber of folks who applied, and just a shout out to the Vende also, because I know they are hosting several of the events, and so excited to see how that comes to life, as well as, thank you again to Culver Arts and also Sony. Thank you.
That concludes the subcommittee reporting.
Awesome. Do we have any public comment with items not on the agenda?
We don't. No one else has signed up to speak.
Okay. Moving on to items from members and staff.
Nope.
I think Sam does. You've heard enough from me.
Okay, good evening, everyone. So last Friday, I attended a gallery tour led by AMOCA staff, Museum of Contemporary Art in Los Angeles. I went to see the Monuments exhibition at the Geffen Contemporary at MoCA. The tour was organized by the Public Art Coalition of Southern California, which we are all members. The exhibition features the recent wave of monument removals and reflects on the histories and legacies of post-Civil War America. So many of the decommissioned monuments are Confederate, with contemporary artworks borrowed and newly created for the occasion. I highly recommend this timely and important exhibition because these monuments, incredible to see them. They're massive. And it's just a great discourse going on with the exhibition. So I highly recommend that. And then I'm also working on, the next steps for the poster program, which, we will bring the 5 finalists and back to the full CAC for final approval, and then we'll, get into contract and move forward and all that. So also I'm assisting in to convene a professional review panel for the architecture as art proposal, which will be forthcoming to the CAC in a subsequent meeting. So that's what I've been working on. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Now, if there's anything else, it's items from members.
Sure. I'm good. Awesome. I think we've all talked enough.
We've thoroughly updated everyone on
Exactly,
everything.
yeah,
which
we're
was
all-
a good, moment in the year to do that.
Exactly. Cool.
Do I have to do motion and vote, or can they start it? Do you have a motion?
I have, and I pressed it.
Oh, you did, okay. So we have a motion to adjourn. Is there anyone second?
Yeah, I'm trying to.
My computer rebooted, so I'm on the login screen. That's not my login.
I seconded. I just did.
Okay, would someone, okay, yes, we have a second.
Awesome.
From Commissioner Gupta. I'm going to motion to adjourn. And go to vote.
And so we'll do yours
Vote.
verbally.
Commissioner, Vice Chair Fleischer, how do you vote?
Yes. Sorry, my screen just went down here.
Commissioner Gupta, do you see the vote? If not, I'm happy to mark it for you.
We didn't get much opportunity to practice on this software this
We
time.
didn't get to use it this time much.
We got it.
Oh, you turned it off. Yes, thank you.
We got it.
And then court and
Motion
that's
passes.
it. The motion to adjourn passes with 3 ayes.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thanks,
now we have to
everyone.
end
We're
the meeting.
free. Thank you. Yeah.
And make sure you sign out, please.
Oh, yes.
And